BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, talking to my guest TC Petty III. We're talking about hard to pronounce European villages or cities that don't have a game yet. But here's one that you're really hoping, maybe the next one, the very first one in the TC Petty Great Cities trilogy. Maastricht, is that right? Am I saying it right? Maastricht?
There's like three different ways to pronounce it, which is great. So I say Maastricht because that's kind of like the like using the ch at the end, because that's kind of like the local pronunciation.
Okay.
They have their own dialect as well. And yeah, so but I think most people will know it as Maastricht,
Okay.
right? And they signed the original UN treaty there. I think that's their claim to fame kind of thing. But from a standpoint of what I'm doing, like the game takes place in the 17th century and during siege warfare times. And in the game, we are involved in the sieges of Maastricht, but we're not actively like fighting them, right? We can provide assistance and provide arms and all that stuff. But what's fun about it is that Maastricht was a town that sort of changed. Like it was a really nice fortified city that everybody wanted because it was on the border of Germany, Belgium, France, like Switzerland, like everything was all right beside it. And so everybody wanted it. And so it changed hands like in the course of like 100 years, which you'll be playing over. It changed hands like 3 or 4 times. And so that's mimicked in the gameplay. There'll be sieges, and most of the time you'll just want the new country to come in and take over. And it doesn't really change the gameplay, but it allows you to trade with new trading partners, allows you to have allegiances to these different countries that come in and out during the course of the game. And so you can kind of manipulate that during the game. The cool part about
typical game has ages or eons or whatever the different names are, but yours is based on countries actually coming in and taking over that area.
Exactly.
And each one is different based on the theme of how that country took over.
Yeah, or at least what they're, what would now open up because of your trading partners, right?
Okay.
So if Spain takes over, well, now France and the Dutch, which now it's a Dutch city, but France and the Dutch would be your new trading partners, and they would have different things that you could do. If Spain leaves, then at the end of the season, or you might have the French in, and now Spanish comes in with their marble and they want to trade, and so it's kind of cool and dynamic that way. And the players collectively control who takes over. So you are collectively defending Maastricht or allowing them to come in. So that's like sort of this weird communication thing that's on top of this Euro game. But the cool thing about the game is it's like each player has their own player board that is actually a map of subterranean Maastricht. Because for some reason...
We can see it in that picture, right? That's each of these little 4 boards around the big board.
I can't see this picture for some reason, but...
All right, sorry about that. It's a picture of you guys at maybe PressCon playing on a long white table with the big board in the middle, and then each player has their own unique board.
Yeah. And your own unique board is like the subterranean map underneath your section of the city.
Okay.
Because another weird thing they did was they mined limestone out from underneath the city in certain parts, causing tunnel systems to be created around the area, right? And so now during the game, you're going to actually mine for limestone, which is what you use to build buildings. Limestone and marl, the most amazing. Yeah, marl, the most amazing resource ever. But anyway, so limestone and marl, but you'll be mining these things, but as you make your subterranean map, you're actually connecting to exit points, which are the buildings on top of the city.
Okay.
So what's cool is that when someone builds a building in your area to try to gain points for sort of area control or region majority, you actually put a little token on your board, your subterranean board, and if you can connect to it, then you score points, you get a little bonus, right? So actively trying to win the game causes other players to gain little bonuses. which causes
Positive
that.
player
Yeah,
interaction. It's the
yeah,
theme
more
part.
positive play. Yeah, everything is interweaved, right? So it's great.
Hey, there's Kirk checking in. I really like the theme. He's one of the guys from that Gateway and Filler Games group I was telling you about. I really like the theme and gameplay of Ez because I love to travel. I've seen a few tourism games, but they focus more on the selfie style of travel. That's where yours is different. It's not the touring the national parks, and I like that game. I'm not down in that game. I'm just saying that yours is more about the history and the development of each city, and the mechanisms in the game all seem to be tied to the history research you've done.
Yeah, so it's sort of trying to make it so that those I like to start with a boring, like I've always said it, like boring games like fuel really interesting like interactions, right? So the theme, just pulling what you can out of these themes creates like their own like I don't even know why these things work or they interact so well, but they just they do. They should. They have no right to work as well as they do or be as exciting. Like, when you place a building and you go, "Oh my god, I get this thing," and then you move a token onto it and it activates again, you just feel like, "Oh man, my brain is blown. I just did this amazing combo." But you're really just kind of building this city that you've never heard of before. Or at least some people have traveled. I get a lot of these stories that people have traveled. But what I do like is that, like, to Kirk's comment, like, I've played games where it's kind of like Hotel Samoa is a good example. Like, it's kind of efficiency puzzle, but it's all about like which tourists are coming in from what countries and putting those countries together. Or like you said, selfies, going around and trying to collect the most portraits or something like that.
The Costa Rica, mechanic, going around and just taking pictures,
Exactly. And that's fine, but it's also not, it doesn't represent anything. It's just sort of, it could have been anywhere. I could have been doing anything.
And that is Maastricht. So any chance we're going to see this thing in actual production form sometime?
Well, I don't want to push anybody, but like I've got all the handshakes from Gen Con. We're finishing up contracts for Maastricht. Ez is still a free agent. If anybody's looking for a game that's in the French Riviera that wants, you want a nice medium weight Euro game, it's there. And yeah, I want to see all these games. So hopefully that'll be like the first two, and then the trilogy will be completed in the next few years. That'll be
Love
great.
it. The trilogy.